So the Republican National Convention continued yesterday. Yesterday was day two. It was definitely a different day than day one. There was less screaming from the speakers, although Eric Trump did a little bit of screaming. But it was sort of a weaker day from the standpoint of making the case that Donald Trump should be reelected. Some of the major speeches yesterday, including Melania Trump's, said a lot, but didn't actually explain why what they said means or points to reelecting Donald Trump. And I'm going to get to that in a moment. But if I had to sort of give a very broad overview, day one was erratic screaming, Kimberly Guilfoyle, Donald Trump Jr., whereas day two was more trying to be more precise, trying to be more calm about the Trump administration being a real administration, a respectable administration, and having earned 4 more years, but failing to do so and not really making that case. And it also included, day two did, some horrible breaches of protocol, possibly even of the law. Before day two even started, by the way, one of the speakers was removed from a montage because it was revealed that she previously tweeted anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. This was Marianne Mendoza. Her police officer's son was tragically killed by a drunk driver. She was going to be included in a list of speaker excerpts, remarks, and it became known that she had previously retweeted a thread on Twitter promoting anti-Semitic conspiracies. So she was pulled from the evening program. I mean, just every detail beyond parody and exactly what the stereotypes about these types of events are, actually meeting that standard, that expectation, conforming to it. Melania Trump spoke from the White House Rose Garden. Now, it was a rose garden devoid of roses. Very strange updates to the landscaping made in advance of Melania Trump's speech, which shouldn't even have taken place. Really, the White House not supposed to be used as a political prop, not supposed to be used for political events. And they did. There will be no repercussions. Don't even think about it. I know it's frustrating, but there's just not going to be any repercussions for that. But the most notable thing to me from day two was the degree to which it was filled with bold-faced lies, provable lies. And this was another distinction from day one. Not only less screaming on day two, day one, more optics and propaganda that are less simply factually false. Day one had a lot of North Korea-like imagery from Kimberly Guilfoyle. Obviously nonsense, but not as many straight up factual lies. Yesterday was just laughable, obvious, provable, empirical lie after lie, and we're going to go through some of them. Maybe the funniest was when former Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi claimed that what she did as Florida Attorney General was fight corruption. Check this out, and then I'll remind you why it's so wild.
But for Joe Biden, it's been the land of opportunism, not opportunity. As a career prosecutor and former Attorney General of Florida, I fought corruption, and I know what it looks like, whether it's done by people wearing pinstripe suits or orange jumpsuits.
Pam Bondi says that she fought corruption as Attorney General in Florida. She was investigating Trump University as Attorney General in Florida. Trump donated to her reelection campaign, and the investigation went away. And she has the audacity to brazenly say that she fought corruption as Attorney General in Florida. She was corrupt as Attorney General in Florida. Pam Bondi also criticized Joe Biden for nepotism, and then was followed up yesterday by Tiffany Trump, Eric Trump, and Melania Trump. Again, Saturday Night Live can't do anything with it. It's beyond parody. Tiffany Trump did speak, as I mentioned. She's Donald Trump's sort of less public daughter. It wasn't really clear. It hasn't been clear that Tiffany Trump likes her dad, and it certainly wasn't clear yesterday, but she did speak. She bizarrely claimed that people are enslaved by the media and coerced by the media and by tech giants. Very unusual imagery. Take a look.
Of who we are voting for may and are being manipulated and visibly coerced by the media and tech giants. If you tune into the media, you get one biased opinion or another. And what you share, if it does not fit into the narrative that they seek to promote, then it is either ignored or deemed a lie, regardless of the truth. This manipulation of what information we receive impedes our freedoms. Rather than allowing Americans the right to form our own beliefs, this misinformation system keeps people mentally enslaved.
Enslaved. I mean, really powerful language. Tiffany's speech, again, it wasn't just low energy. It didn't make the case for Donald Trump's reelection. And that was what was interesting about a lot of the speeches yesterday, including Melania's, which we're going to get to, which was that so much was said, but it wasn't clear why anybody should vote for Donald Trump on the basis of the speeches that were made. Trump's son, Eric Trump, spoke. And again, lame lies, nonsense. But here is one of the whoppers that Eric told, just making things up out of thin air.
In the Middle East, never-ending wars were finally ended.
Now, of course, Donald Trump did not achieve peace in the Middle East. You probably know that. Donald Trump did not end any wars. You probably know that. It just didn't happen. These are provable empirical lies. We then heard from Trump economic advisor Larry Kudlow, who showed up and just told a complete fantasy about the Trump administration's handling of coronavirus and, in that context, the economy. Take a look at this one.
Once in 100-year pandemic, it was awful. Health and economic impacts were tragic. Hardship and heartbreak were everywhere. But presidential leadership came swiftly and effectively with an extraordinary rescue for health and safety to successfully fight the COVID virus.
So, to his credit, Larry Kudlow didn't seem drunk this time. That's good, but he wasn't making any sense anyway. And of course, this administration did not put together the brilliant health and economic plan that Larry Kudlow wants us to believe they put together. And in fact, the Trump administration response was one of the worst responses to the virus in the world and led to not only unnecessary death, but also unnecessary economic destruction. They didn't create the virus. They're not responsible for the virus, but they are responsible for one of the worst responses. Larry Kudlow also, by the way, as many speakers did on day one and on day two, Kudlow refers to coronavirus and the pandemic in the past tense. You might be interested to know, just to be anchored to reality, that coronavirus killed another 1,291 people in the United States yesterday alone. They continue to pretend that it's over, and they need to. They need to, and that's why they've been doing it for months. Coronavirus ranks as one of the most important issues for voters and one of the ones where Donald Trump has the lowest approval rating, so they have to pretend it's over. They have to claim that Donald Trump managed it very well. Now, one of the propaganda elements that's concerning many people from yesterday is that uniformed members of the military were pulled into the evening, which isn't supposed to happen. For example, we're showing video of uniformed Marines when Donald Trump did a naturalization ceremony at the White House for new citizens. Marines and members of the military are not supposed to be political figures in political videos, and the entire night was filled with this. Now, the response from the White House was, these events were White House formal events. The video was then made public, and the public video was then used at the RNC. So at the time that the uniformed Marines were filmed, these were not political events, but they were White House events. I don't think I have to say too much more about that reasoning. Another propaganda element was Trump springing a pardon on a guy after a whole propagandistic montage. And again, Donald Trump creating something out of nothing. Take a look at this video. Listen to this.
To join us as I grant John, I'm not sure you know this, a full pardon. So I don't know if you know that, Jamie. Come on over here. It's just an honor. And you have done incredible work.
Thank you, sir.
And all of Las Vegas and all of Nevada and all of every place in this country is very proud of you. The job you've done, bringing people back. And you're right, I was supposed to be there for 5 minutes. I stayed for an hour and a half because it was so interesting to me. Congratulations.
You really get the sense that Donald Trump doesn't really understand what he's doing. but he imagines or envisions that it looks great to people and that they're going to be incredibly moved by it when it's just awkward more than anything else. And then the night capped off, the keynote of the evening last night was Melania Trump, a very long speech, completely meandering. If you said, what was the speech about? I couldn't tell you. There was really no arc to it. There was no coherent narrative. And it certainly didn't make the case for why Donald Trump should be reelected. Donald Trump did not seem pleased during it. In fact, as we're showing people, he looked like very much like he was not enjoying himself every time that the camera would cut to him during the speech. And it was a lame speech. Here's a few moments. Melania saying that Donald Trump, this is funny, that Trump doesn't play politics. And even she seems to have a hard time believing that.
Donald wants to keep your family safe. He wants to help your family succeed. He wants nothing more than for this country to prosper, and he doesn't waste time playing politics.
Now, yeah, what I didn't like was I saw a lot of people supposedly on the left, for example, during my live streams yesterday, ridiculing Melania for her accent. Listen, she's not from the United States. People have accents when they learn languages as adults. I do think it's beneath us to go after her for her accent. We should go after Donald Trump because he has one position on immigration. And then we learned that his wife was working in the United States at a time when she was not authorized to work in the United States. That's against the law. That's fair game. Melania's parents got special treatment and became citizens. Melania got an Einstein visa. All of that is completely fair game. Her accent is not fair game for me. I think the left should stay away from that. I think it does absolutely nothing for us. Now, here Melania Trump seems to sort of find the solution to racism in some weird way. Take a look.
With that in mind, I like to call on the citizens of this country to take a moment, pause, and look at things from all perspectives. I urge people to come together in a civil manner so we can work and live up to our standard American ideals. I also ask people to stop the violence and looting being done in the name of justice, and never make assumptions based on the color of a person's skin.
Yeah, guys, I mean, just stop the violence, stop the looting, and stop the racism. Oh, all right. And then again, how that links to Trump's reelection is beyond me. There were some really cringy applause lines where it sort of became clear that people were supposed to clap, but always like half a beat too late. For example, Melania pausing when she said that she became a citizen after passing a test. And it was just really, really awkward.
But I wanted more. I wanted to be a citizen. After 10 years of paperwork and patience, I studied for the test in 2006 and became an American citizen.
So again, the real critique of this speech is there was no coherent story. There was no coherent arc. It was terribly written. But more importantly, these musings from Melania Trump don't make the case effectively for Donald Trump's reelection. Now, you and I would say you can't possibly make that case because he doesn't deserve to be reelected. And I would agree with you. But typically, no matter how bad a first term has been, a convention speech is able to put together a story at least plausibly justifying, if you buy into it, the reelection of the sitting president. Melania's speech didn't even do that. And quite frankly, for all we know, she doesn't even want Donald Trump to be reelected. My sense from day one has been she didn't want to be the first lady of the United States. She just wanted to marry a rich guy and travel from penthouse to penthouse on Trump's private plane. I don't think she really wants any part of this. I don't think it's been particularly good for her. And again, yesterday we learned that she has been caught on recordings disparaging Donald Trump, disparaging Trump's adult children. It's not even clear she wanted to be giving this speech, but it is what it is, I guess, to quote Donald Trump. Tonight is night 3. We're expecting scheduled, although always subject to change. If someone gets caught tweeting something anti-Semitic, they may be pulled. But we're expecting Vice President Mike Pence tonight, his wife Karen Pence, a bunch of other members of Congress, Kellyanne Conway, who recently announced she's quitting in 5 days. She's scheduled to speak tonight. Eric Trump's wife, Lara Trump, expected tonight. So join me for day 3. I'll be starting the live coverage on our YouTube and Twitch channels at about 8:15 p.m. Eastern time, 8:15 p.m. Eastern, 5:15 p.m. Pacific, and like 2 in the morning Western Europe time. A lot of people staying up late with us for these conventions. Join me tonight. In the meantime, let me know your thoughts via Twitter. I'm on Twitter at @dpakman. You can find me there. I want to take a second to tell you about one of our sponsors, Sussman and Hahn. Sussman and Hahn has everything you need when it comes to face masks and other protective gear for COVID-19, and they're giving my audience 20% off. Sussman and Hahn is the company that I personally have been going to for face masks. I love and trust the products they sell. That's actually why I reached out to them about being a sponsor. I have tried tons of different masks this year, and I still have not found a mask that's more comfortable or easier to breathe in than the washable cotton masks that they sell. It's made of a silky, lightweight cotton that feels great on your skin. It has convenient adjustable straps. It features a disposable 5-layer particle filter made of activated carbon. They also have disposable cloth masks, which are really comfortable, as well as other gear like face shields, alcohol wipes, no-touch infrared thermometers, and all of their prices are very reasonable. I also love Sussman and Hahn because they've donated over 60,000 masks to healthcare institutions. They're a great company. You can get there by going to davidpakman.com/mask. The link is underneath this video, and you can save 20% off of everything in their store when you use the coupon code DAVID.